Greetings and welcome on a video with a Frenchman. This is a short video that I'm going to do to try and answer a few questions about the HexaTrek, the long distance hike that just opened in 2022 in France and that I just finished hiking and that I just finished preparing because I'm one of the organizers. Yes and no. Yes, it does exist because I just hiked it. But for the moment, it is more of a developing trail than something else. And the trail itself is not something new. We are passing along many GRs, Grande Randonnée, which are existing trail in France. What we've done is we did what the Tour de France did. We took a lot of roads that already exist and say, hey, if you do all of those roads, you've done the Tour de France. This is the same for the HexaTrek. Everywhere we had the authorization, we planted some signs. Some, I even did it myself during my hike. But for the moment, they are really just selfie baits for our HexaTrekkers. They will not guide you from the beginning to the end of the HexaTrek. This, you will have to follow the other signs, the GR signs. Although, you still need to have your GPS, because your GPS will tell you when to switch from one trail to another. You will need the GPS file. It's impossible to do it without the GPS so far. But it exists. I did it. It exists. It's there. And I wasn't alone to do it. No, it is quite unique. Yes, it is a 3,000 kilometers hike. Yes, you will sleep almost every night in your tent and be surrounded by nature constantly. But you won't be in the wilderness. This is American trek-like, which means that you have stretches of very long distances of nothing. Wilderness. Pure wilderness where men are almost never settling. This is a European trail, which means that it is set in a place where you will have traces of humans almost every day. From the ruins of an abandoned castle in a dense forest to forest road, actually on top of a mountain that can lead you to civilization. There is not a single day where you won't see a human presence. It's not a problem, because you will have this blend of nature and culture. For example, in national parks where you have the most nature and the most wilderness, well, you still have a lot of refugees along the trails every 16 kilometers. And in those refugees, you can actually have a warm meal most of the time because they're awarded. Actually, if you don't want to, you probably can get away with using your poop trowel on the trail. And you will probably never have to go behind a tree to go number 2 in the woods. That's up to you. What you have to understand is that it's Europe. People have been living in those mountains and in this countryside for thousands of years. So they have adapted the environment to themselves. The very good plus of that is that you have beautiful villages, beautiful castles, beautiful ruins, beautiful everything constantly. You have a real mixture. And this is the pleasure of being able to be surrounded by nature and having the comfort of a very nice warm meal. Sure, you can decide to take it as an American style trek, which means going fast and like eating food just for fuel and trying to push miles, but that doesn't work in here. We push kilometers. So nobody will care about your mileage. And kilometrage is not really a thing. But you can definitely do that. Never stop in a village and just go and try to be always in nature. This is definitely possible. But you will miss on a lot of the things that the trek has to offer. This is a trek that is, in my opinion, better suited to take your time and enjoy everything it has to offer. You would think I'm partial, but I don't know France that much. I'm French, I grew up in the south of France, but I never traveled in France. And the things I've discovered, the meals I've tasted, the cheese, the bread, the saucisson, all of that was just a fantastic discovery every time. Every time I stopped in a restaurant and tried the local delicacy, I was blown away by how good local products were. That's quite impressive to take it slow. And the villages are, for some of them, hundreds of years old and are gorgeous little gems in the middle of nowhere, and you will have the chance to walk there by yourself. And you will have this feeling of discovering a part that is unknown for most tourists. It wasn't known to me, and I'm not even a tourist, and I discovered so many things that blew my mind. But it's up to you how you want to take it. It's just, it really blew my mind. Yes, you can camp, and no, it is not illegal. There is a law in France stating that you can bivouac, which means staying for just one night with a small shelter, anywhere that is not forbidden, as long as you are on public land and 1 hour away from a road. 1 hour is 5 meters. 5 meters if you crawl. So as you understand, this law is a law that you can interpret quite a lot. So in practicality, I don't know anybody who had the problem with the cops or with the guards. The only places you really cannot camp are the heart of the national parks because they will find you. One night we were actually 4 HexaTrekkers on the outskirts of a small village in the south of France. We decided to have a barbecue. It was drought season, so everything was so dry, forest fire everywhere. Barbecue was not the smartest idea. So we went on the bank of a river, rock bank, river, completely safe. We started to set camp and go for firewood. Then the cops arrived. And the cops arrived not because they saw us. They arrived because they know that this bank is a place where those hippies love to go and have crazy parties. And they're really trying to prevent forest fires. So they saw us, saw that we were actually hikers. We had a chat with them. They told us, in theory, you cannot camp there. But we don't really care, so you can camp there. Just don't make a fire. And we had this hands full of little firewood. I'm like, sure, we would never do that. That's not us. This is to set the tent and just braid our hair. That was fun. Because in the end, nothing happened and it was a chill night and we had a very nice evening. So you should be fine. You should be definitely fine about that. It took me exactly 5 months, but I was taking my sweet, sweet time because I am not the kind of guy who is in a hurry and I don't hike to hike. I hike to stop. I'm not crazy about the action, physical action of walking, but I really love to stop after walking. This is the best moment. So I was doing a lot of stops and stopping a lot in a lot of places because I wanted to taste it all. But this is kind of a long one. I think I was the slowest one on this year. I could have been slower actually because I was afraid a bit of being caught by the snow in the Pyrenees, but no problem there. I could have walked a little bit more. On the other direction, somebody actually ran the HexaTrek this year, Yves, and managed to run it in 49 days. So it's kind of between 49 days and 5 months for the moment. This is how we know it. Yes, you can, but you will have to make some adjustment on the trace. Actually, I'm not a very sporty guy. My height is 180. Before the trek, I was weighing 92 kilograms. And after the trek, I was weighing 92 kilograms. I didn't move at all. I didn't become magically sporty. Sure, my belly flattened, my thighs width just exploded all of a sudden, but overall I was the same person and I still didn't enjoy the physical activities. I hate to go uphill. Going uphill kills me all the time. Going down is okay. Going up is always a struggle. Even 100 meters is killing me. But I still could do it. And I could do it because you have to take it slow and you have to take it one step at a time. I know that in the beginning, you tend to fall for this vertigo of the distance. When you see you have 3,000 kilometers to go, you have in your mind the idea, oh my God, if I don't do this amount of kilometers today, I will never manage to reach my destination in time. You will push yourself too hard and you will destroy yourself. So take it easy, one step after another, and little by little you will get used to it and you will manage to do it. Don't push too hard, just enjoy. Now, if it's your first hike, you have to know that French mountains can be very technical and can be very dangerous. I'm saying that as the 2022 HexaTrek trace was going in some places that I felt very uncomfortable in, that places I felt very dangerous and that I wished I was not involved in. This trace is actually evolving and every year we're going to tweak it a little bit to make it better for everybody. With alternative routes for people who want to take risk and alternative routes for people who don't want to take risk at all. But most importantly, you have to understand that you're in France, so you always have an option to say no. At any point, if you see that the trace is going in a place that you don't like, for example, on top of a mountain that is only rocks, then you can always say no, I'm going on the side of it. If you, on the contrary, on top and you want to continue on top and the way is going down and you feel like, I don't want to go down, you can always go there. Because we have so many marked trails that you can always mix and match exactly as you prefer. And for the moment, as there is no like set in stone trays. You can do pretty much what you want. And even after that, we are Latin people. We are quite lenient about rules, except when it comes to how you should cut the cheese. This is quite important. But apart from that, really relax. We don't really care that you follow meter after meter exactly the trace. Just do what you like. As long as you're walking, as long as you're enjoying, you're doing the HexaTrek, and that's fine. They are holidays. They are your holidays. Don't suffer for suffering. Enjoy. There is absolutely no need to send yourself packages unless you have a special diet. For example, if you're a vegan, because it will be difficult to find the products. I didn't have more than 3 days without food. I always found food pretty much everywhere. That was really not complicated. Water has been a problem because water was kind of scarce this year because of the drought, and it was quite a special year. But even then, always managed to find water. And as long as there is anybody living around an habitation, you can always ask for water and you will get water. For food, it wasn't difficult at all. On the contrary, there are some moments I had a warm meal served to me every day because we were passing through so many villages and so many places, so many refugees where you can actually have a meal. I know that there is this trend coming mostly from the US trails where you send yourself efficient food. And you eat efficient food like peanut butter, mash something, dehydrated stuff. I didn't need it. I had some packages of dry food that I was using sometimes at night, but it wasn't that exciting, to be honest. And I ended up with more than I had. So I think in total, I had maybe 40 of those in the entire trek and didn't feel the need for more. You have to understand that French people have been using the mountains for quite a lot, and we developed food for the mountains. Bread, cheese, and saucisson. This is the holy trinity of French mountain food. And with that, you can survive anything. So you don't have to stuff yourself with efficient food as fuel to just go further. You can always enjoy the local delicacy. Bear in mind that you're going to cross mountains that have types of cheese that are different from one side of the mountain to another. The taste will be different, the name will be different, and the people will sell you cheese directly on the trail. You will pass by cheese factories. This is insane. This is insane. So you have to keep that in mind. One of my favorite way to pass a day on the HexaTrek was this. Waking up at camp, having my cereals was my milk because I had powdered milk. Then going in town for lunch in a restaurant and having a warm meal in the restaurant. Hiking some more in the afternoon, then stopping by a village to buy a can of beer, then going up the mountain to my bivouac spot, set tent, make a fire, and have some cheese and saucisson and bread with my beer. And that would be a perfect day on the HexaTrek, and this is something that I absolutely adore. It cost me a little bit less than 1,000 euros per month. I'm including in that all of the food I was consuming, the accommodation, mostly camping site, a few hotels and Airbnbs and auberge, one refuge I think, didn't go much for refugees, and some gear change, plus everything that might happen here and there, a bus fare, something. I was quite on the high end of spending because I wanted to have a good trek and comfort was important to me. It's not necessary that you will spend that much. One of the HexaTrekker could actually finish the trail in 3 months and a half. And in those 3 months and a half, he managed to spend only 1,000 euros. Less than 3 times what I was spending. And that's because mostly he was sleeping every night in a tent and never stopped for a day off. Depends on you really. But that would be between 300 and 1,000 euros per month. Not every French person is a Parisian waiter that hates you because you exist. Most of the people in France are quite chill. They're quite, like laid-back people, but very shy. It's true, French people are shy to speak in English. The best way to unlock them is to just say one word. Bonjour. You just learn this word and already you will manage to talk to most of the people and try. Actually, during my trek, I was trying to do this documentary that I'm working on and to interview people along the way. And my goal was to interview people only in English. So having to find a French person that speaks good enough English, plus that is willing to do it in front of a camera, was really hard, but I managed.
So you're locals from here?
Yes.
If I manage to find them, then you will manage to find people who are willing to talk to you. Some people actually on the trek had a very good time with the French, and some people had a very bad time. It really depends also on luck, on the people you will find. My advice: to make sure that everything goes well. Say bonjour, have a big smile, try to learn a few more words, like basic words like merci, au revoir, excusez-moi, the basic words. But you will spend so much time in France that after a while you will probably know a few words if you take the time to spend in places where you have other people. Just know one thing: the French hiking etiquette asks you to say bonjour to everybody you meet on the trail. Not hi, not hello, not salut, not ça va, just bonjour. This is the sesame word to open everything, so always say bonjour and you will be fine. Otherwise, try Spanish or Danish. So, there you have it. These are a few questions that you might have and that I am happy to answer. If you have more questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to ask me some more in the comments or send me a message, and I will try to address them either in another video or directly answering them. Also, if you want to go further, we published a few articles about how to prepare your HexaTrek. I published a video about everything I had in my backpack, what worked and what didn't along the trail. Or if you want, you can listen to my podcast, In a Tent with a Frenchman. Every night on the trail, I was taking 5 minutes to record a small podcast about my day, about how it went, about what I felt like. It's a really in-depth experience for people who want to prepare the HexaTrek or want to live it. Anyway, thank you very much for following this video. If you have any more questions or anything, just feel free to ask me. It's brand new, again, plenty of things to do. It's volunteer work. We're all working voluntarily on this non-profit, so we're trying to make it as good as possible for everybody. And I really hope that we will go on the trek and have a good time. This is the most important. Cheers. Oh yes, I know. Nobody will believe it was me. But actually, I was there the whole time.